You settle in thinking you're just going about your business, and then bam, suddenly you're smack dab in the middle of something monumental.
Happens more often than you'd think. Maybe not monumental every time, but yeah.
Or maybe you've got these intense rivalries, these head-to-head battles you're laser focused on, and then out of nowhere you realize the only way forward is actually together.
Right, when cooperation suddenly becomes the only survival strategy.
Today on You Mother Truckers podcast, we're taking a pit stop into 2 flash fiction stories that throw us right into those kinds of situations. Just for you.
That's right. We've got 2 very different scenarios lined up, but both explore that fascinating intersection of individual experience and unexpected external forces.
Totally.
The first story, it drops us right into the thick of the Salem witch trials. Our protagonist, a time traveler who is facing a rather significant mechanical issue.
Exactly. In this flash fiction story, Uncharted, our traveler isn't just, like, sightseeing in 1692 Salem. Her time machine decides to take an unscheduled break right there.
Worst possible place, pretty much.
Yeah. We'll be looking at the incredible tight spot she's in and the high-stakes decision she has to make just to survive. It's a real study in how quickly plans can go sideways when, history's involved.
Definitely. And in our second flash fiction story, Fall of Champions, we're transported to a Grand Mages tournament. Very different vibe. A place of intense magical competition.
Oh, yeah.
But the clash of ambition takes a startling detour when a completely unforeseen danger emerges. We'll see how these powerful mages have to redefine what strength means and discover the surprising power of working together.
Both of these flash fiction stories are real roller coaster rides, packed with those moments where your jaw just drops.
Absolutely, they grab you.
So let's get right into it. Let's kick off this pit stop with Uncharted and see what happens when a trip through time turns into a fight for survival.
Okay. So the opening of Uncharted is certainly dramatic. Our traveler doesn't gently arrive in 1692. It's a crash landing in Salem.
Right, not subtle.
Not at all. Consider the immediate jeopardy. She possesses technology that would be utterly incomprehensible and therefore, terrifying to the people of that era.
Especially then. Salem, 1692.
Exactly, especially during the heightened paranoia of the witch trials. Her very presence, her tech, it makes her an instant target.
It's a brutal irony, isn't it? The pinnacle of future technology making her an instant outcast, potentially seen as witchcraft, in the past.
Completely.
And it forces her into this impossible position. The fundamental rule of time travel, don't interfere, clashes head-on with the immediate need to, not be burned at the stake. What do you think about that initial dilemma?
It immediately raises the stakes. I mean, we as readers understand the whole don't mess with the timeline thing, but on a personal level, survival is a powerful instinct, right?
Oh, yeah.
The story cleverly uses this tension to drive the narrative forward. The traveler's subsequent actions are all colored by this foundational conflict. It's survival versus the rules.
And those actions become increasingly desperate. To get her machine working again, she needs this incredibly rare iridium isotope, something that would be virtually non-existent in 1692 in any usable form.
Almost impossible.
This need compels her to take a massive gamble.
Precisely. The near impossibility of acquiring iridium then forces her into the risky strategy of disguise and seeking help, and not just any help,
Right.
from someone already on the fringes of society. Her decision to appear as a simpleton, while perhaps her best option for blending in superficially, likely presented its own set of challenges, given her advanced knowledge and likely unfamiliarity with 17th century customs.
You'd think. Which leads her to Sarah, a woman already labeled a witch because of her understanding of herbs and natural remedies.
Yeah.
Here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, the connection.
This shared experience of being an outsider, though for vastly different reasons, creates this unexpected connection between them. What stood out to you about their initial interaction?
Well, the element of risk on Sarah's part is significant. I mean, to align herself with someone so clearly unusual, someone who just sort of appeared in such a volatile environment, it demonstrates either remarkable intuition or maybe profound desperation herself.
Could be both.
Could be. And for the traveler, revealing even a small piece of future technology is an enormous breach of protocol, highlighting just how extreme her situation is. It really speaks to the power of shared circumstance overriding established rules.
Their journey through the wilderness, then, to find this microscopic needle in a historical haystack, it really underscores the chasm between their worlds.
Oh, definitely.
The traveler's scientific knowledge, while powerful in its own context, is kind of useless in navigating the practical realities of the 17th century wilderness.
That contrast is key, isn't it? The traveler might understand the atomic structure of iridium, but it's Sarah's knowledge of the local flora, fauna, and terrain that becomes their most valuable asset.
Right, practical knowledge versus theoretical.
It's a compelling reminder that different kinds of knowledge hold power in different contexts. And all the while, the backdrop of the witch trials isn't just like historical color. It's a constant menacing presence. You feel it.
And just when they succeed, when they actually find this impossibly rare element, the rug gets pulled out from under them, the sudden ambush by the zealous constable. It's just brutal. A reminder of the ever-present danger and the pervasive fear of that time.
Yeah, that moment of discovery, quickly turning to violence, really underscores the inherent risks of their alliance and the brutal reality of the historical setting. Sarah, who extended trust and aid, becomes a direct casualty of the very environment they were trying to navigate.
So tragic. What do you make of the traveler's immediate reaction then?
It feels completely visceral, right? A surge of grief and anger, the impulsive jump back to the future alone. It's born of that raw emotion. It's a moment of survival, yes, but also profound loss. You can only imagine the weight of that decision. Returning to her lab, the familiar surroundings must have felt starkly different, tainted by the events she just experienced and, well, the absence of Sarah. The functionality of the time machine, designed for a solitary traveler, becomes a physical manifestation of her isolation.
Yeah, amplifying the guilt.
Likely amplifies the guilt of leaving Sarah behind, absolutely.
But then, that small glimmer of hope, Sarah's note. It's such a powerful moment. Despite everything, Sarah shows this incredible resilience and understanding. Go. I will find my own way back to my time. What do you think is the significance of that message?
It's open to interpretation, isn't it? It could be a message of reassurance, a way for Sarah to alleviate the traveler's guilt, or perhaps it speaks to a deeper sense of self-reliance and unexpected ability to adapt to the consequences of their interaction.
Maybe she wasn't just talking about her time, like 1692 time.
Maybe. It certainly leaves the traveler and us with a lingering question about the nature of time and possibility. What does she mean?
The arduous process of repairing the time machine takes on a new dimension then, doesn't it? It's not just a technical challenge anymore. It's intertwined with the memory of Sarah.
Everything's changed.
And then the discovery of the iridium sliver, stained with her blood. Wow. It's no longer just a component. It's a tangible link to Sarah, a symbol of their shared experience and her sacrifice.
That sliver transcends its scientific properties. It becomes a deeply personal artifact, imbued with emotional weight. The traveler's subsequent choice to jump not back to her original time, but to 1715, signifies a profound shift in her motivation.
She's not just going home.
No. It's no longer just about returning. It's about finding Sarah. It's a mission now.
And the reunion. Such a powerful payoff. Sarah, older but alive. And that casual greeting took you long enough. It just hints at this incredible resilience and maybe even a shared understanding that transcends the conventional boundaries of time.
It suggests that Sarah did indeed find her own way, somehow navigating the intervening years with a strength and adaptability. It's amazing. Their decision to then become protectors of their timeline, embracing the unpredictable nature of their intertwined fates, provides a sense of closure and a new sense of purpose born from what initially seemed like a catastrophic accident.
It really highlights how even unintended consequences can lead to unexpected and meaningful outcomes.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on now to our second pit stop. Fall of Champions.
Right, Fall of Champions. This plunges us into a completely different kind of high-stakes environment, the Grand Mages Tournament. Here, the tension isn't about survival against historical forces per se.
No, it's competition.
It's the intense pressure of competition, the drive to prove magical superiority. We're introduced to Elias and these initial rivalries with Princess Anya and Liam. What were your first impressions of this competitive landscape?
The tournament setting immediately establishes a clear hierarchy and, individual ambitions. Elias is clearly driven, maybe a bit cocky. Princess Anya possesses a certain regal confidence with her illusions, very skilled. And Liam, despite his physical strength, is portrayed with a gentler nature.
Kind of the gentle giant trope.
A bit, yeah. It's a classic setup where individual prowess is the ultimate measure of success. Who's the best?
Right. It's all about showcasing individual magical skill and strategic thinking. The focus is entirely on outperforming your rivals for that top spot. But then the story throws this massive curveball. The final duel between Elias and Anya, the very culmination of all that built-up rivalry, is violently interrupted by this unexpected cataclysm. The ground literally collapses beneath them.
That sudden shift from a controlled competitive environment to utter chaos is brilliantly jarring. The emergence of ancient ruins and the eerie stone guardians instantly dwarf the personal stakes of the tournament. Suddenly, their individual magical abilities honed for competition.
Useless.
Well, they prove woefully inadequate against this unknown threat, yeah.
It's the ultimate equalizer, isn't it? All that individual training and ambition suddenly means very little when faced with a common, overwhelming danger. This forces Elias and Anya to look beyond their personal rivalry and assess the situation together. What's significant about their realization regarding the pulsing glyph?
Well, their simultaneous recognition of the glyph as a lock and themselves as the keys marks a crucial turning point. It requires them to set aside their animosity, their competition, and recognize a shared purpose. This moment of shared insight, born out of a crisis, is what allows them to move beyond their competitive mindset.
And they take this incredible leap of faith, focusing their magic together into the glyph. It's a complete reversal of their dynamic, right?
Totally.
Instead of trying to defeat each other, they're literally combining their strengths in a moment of profound trust. Pretty cool.
The resulting blinding flare and the deactivation of the Guardians powerfully illustrate the potential of their combined efforts. It's a tangible demonstration of synergy, where their magic, when unified, achieves something far greater than either could accomplish alone. 1 + 1 equals like 5 here.
Yeah, more than the sum of its parts. The aftermath is so telling, too. It's no triumphant victor ceremony, just this stunned silence. And the Grand Mage acknowledging this unforeseen achievement, unity over individual might.
Right.
It completely reframes the definition of victory within the context of the tournament.
Exactly. The focus shifts from individual glory to the collective overcoming of a shared challenge. It suggests that true strength lies not just in individual power, but in the ability to adapt and cooperate in the face of the unexpected.
And that shared experience forges this unlikely camaraderie between Elias and Anya, symbolized so perfectly by the stolen victory pastries. I love that detail.
Oh, it's humanizing.
Anya's wry admission of needing help. Suppose I could have done it alone? And Elias's realization about the real source of power highlight the lasting impact of this shared ordeal.
Their understanding of both their own capabilities and the potential of alliances has been fundamentally altered. They entered as rivals, driven by individual ambition, and emerged with a newfound respect for each other and a deeper understanding of what true power entails, the ability to face the unforeseen together.
So what are the big takeaways for you from these two flash fiction stories then? In Uncharted, we see how even unintentional actions can have profound and lasting consequences, and how unexpected connections can form in the most challenging circumstances.
Right.
It makes you think about the delicate balance of history and, the human element within it, those ripples.
And with Fall of Champions, the story beautifully illustrates how a shared crisis can dissolve even the most entrenched rivalries, revealing that true strength often lies not in individual dominance, but in the capacity for collaboration and finding common ground when facing a larger threat.
It really prompts you to consider where your own competitive instincts might be overshadowing opportunities for unexpected alliances and shared success, doesn't it?
It does. Sometimes the biggest win isn't the one you are aiming for.
These pit stops into Uncharted and Fall of Champions offer just a glimpse into these imaginative narratives. What resonated most with you in these tales of unexpected turns and unforeseen unity? What other possibilities might have unfolded for these characters?
Yeah, lots to think about.
We encourage you to consider the enduring impact of our actions, intentional or otherwise, and the surprising strength that can emerge when we choose to face challenges together. Perhaps these stories will spark your own reflections on the intricate tapestry of cause and effect and the power of unity in a world full of the unexpected.